All right, everyone, welcome inside the Virtual Media Center here at the CME Group Tour Championship. I'm pleased to be joined by Lydia. Once again, if there's any questions on the Zoom, please let us know in the Zoom chat function. And for anyone in the room, again, there are microphones in the back. So, Lydia, I just want to first start with, it's been a quick turnaround from the Sunday playoff, but what were your thoughts after everything that went down there on that Sunday at Pelican?
Yeah, I think just with the score that I'd finished on after 18, I thought I was out of reach. Even though 18 is a pretty tough hole, so I was ready to kind of get things going and then drive down here to Naples. But even though I didn't end up winning, still always great to have the opportunity to be in a playoff alongside three of the top players. So yeah, it was a quick turnaround, but at the same time, I think it's great that we have the couple weeks here in Florida and makes travel a little bit easier, whereas in other cases we might have to move flights and everything. So yeah, logistically, it's great for us.
Now, I know it's kind of talked about at length last week, but the win in Saudi and then coming into Pelican, another strong performance there. 4 runner-up performances this past season in 2021. What's it been like for you the last couple of weeks just riding this momentum?
Yeah, I think I've overall been playing really solid. I think it all started around Evian. I felt like I got on a good momentum of things, and golf is, I think, if you get in the rhythm of things, you are able to feed off those kind of momentums. It can go either way, but I'm just trying to have a lot of fun out there and not get too carried away about what score I shoot, and try and play the best golf I can and see where that leaves me at the end of the week.
Now you return to a place where you've won before. You're quite comfortable here. What's it like that we are now at the end of the 2021 season?
Yeah, I walked past my photo the other day and I was like, dang, I've either aged a lot or, in the 8 years, it's, I feel like it's been more than 8 years, but then at the same time, I can't believe it's been 8 years. Baby face Lydia, maybe I should rock the glasses again. But the course changed a little bit since I had won there a few years ago. I think they redid some of the greens and the surroundings, adding a little bunkers. So this is a great golf course. I think there's a few holes that you do definitely need to drive it well, and then other than that, having a good short game around here is really important. I think the years that I've played well, my putting's been good. So I think that's probably going to be one of the biggest keys this week.
Before we open it up to questions, just want to reiterate there are microphones in the back there, and just let us know in the Zoom chat here. But when you come to a course where you feel so comfortable there before, is there a lot of practice that goes into it, or is it just about kind of feeling it all over again, just 9 holes here and there?
I think it depends, if you played the week before or not. I took Monday off, so I actually played 18 holes yesterday. I think I would rather play and do my stuff on the golf course and be doing a lot of grinding and practice, in the practice facilities. And I think it totally depends on, how well you're playing. Sometimes you're hitting the ball great on the driving range, but you can't take that to the golf course, or, you're hitting good on the golf course, but why is it not working on the driving range, vice versa. So I think it is very circumstantial. But for me, especially in tournament week, I'd rather do my practice on course and actually, practicing. So I think that's what I try and lean more towards too.
All right, we'll open it up first to Steve.
How tired are you? And does playing well for 2 consecutive weeks, winning and being in contention, is that more exhausting, or would you rather, or less exhausting than just having mediocre weeks?
I'm sure being in contention and everything, it is a little bit more draining. I think last week was just tricky because there's a lot of grinding, and I think I was a little bit more tentative on the putting green just because there's a lot of slope there, and putt set normally is an inside right putt. It could break a cup, 2 cups, 3 cups. So yeah, I think in that, because of the course and how it played, I think it took a lot of all the players, attention and focus. But I don't feel that tired. I think, when you get into a stretch of events, I feel like you're going on that adrenaline of just, keep playing. And this is the last event of the year, so now I'm going to put my 100% focus on it and, just hopefully finish the season off strong. But physically, I don't feel that tired, which is great. I think I was more tired in Saudi just because the weather was hotter and, it was just more humid. But I think we've been lucky. Last week was pretty comfortable temperatures. Obviously, the next few days looks a little wet, but everyone's going to be playing in the same conditions, so it is what it is. And I'm just thinking, okay, 4 more competitive rounds and we're done. So the countdown has kind of begun for sure.
And traditionally, after this week, you've gotten on a plane and headed to Korea. Has that schedule changed, or are you doing that again?
No, I think I'm going to stay stateside. I'm planning to start my season a little earlier than before. I don't think I've played the Tournament of Champions in a few years. And because it's literally in my backyard next year, I thought it would be missed to not play it when I could wake up an hour and a half and then just rock up to the golf course and still not be late. I'm planning on playing the event in Nona, so my season starts a little earlier, so it's going to be, it made more sense for me to be in the U.S. than to go back.
All right, Zach.
Lydia, could you take us back to what you felt winning in Hawaii and how it impacted the stretch of the rest of the year?
Hawaii feels like a long time ago as well. I think since the restart last year, I think I'd put myself in a little bit more contention than I had over the past few years. And then, finishing A&A really well, on that last day. And then I think I was just kind of on the high of that, going into Hawaii week. And obviously that was a golf course where you knew that low scores needed to be made. So winning in Hawaii was more proving to myself that, hey, I can be back in the winner's circle. And even if you come second like 5 times, like that's great and you know that your game's there, but to kind of take it to that next step, I feel like, it's giving that reassurance to yourself, and I think that was a huge thing for me in Hawaii, and then obviously winning in Saudi as well. So every win is, I think, meaningful in different ways, and for me, I think Hawaii was just a little bit more of a confidence booster.
And how would you compare your game now physically and mentally to 2015, 2016?
It's different. I think there was a point where I was very comparative to like myself when I was the number 1 in the world, and I think at that point I was just comparing myself to the past, and that's kind of not the place I wanted to be at. And Stacey Lewis was actually somebody that advised me to say, hey, you got to be the best version of yourself now and not try to be who you were in the past. And I think that really, it meant a lot for somebody like her to say that, like, to me, and then I think it really hit me then. So I'm different, every tournament, every experience, it changes you, and, for the good or the bad, I don't know. That's why I said it's like age is just a number, but experience, that's a whole new thing. So, it's, I'm hitting it longer than before. Than in 2015, 16. So that's probably one of the biggest things just within my game. But I feel like just my game itself is very different, and how I approach things is different as well.
When did she give you that advice?
She told me that at, what's that racetrack course that we played? Indy. Yeah, at Indy. The year that I was in contention, I don't know what year that was, but she said, obviously she has been number 1 and everything, and she said, I think she too said she wanted to like kind of be the person that she was when she was playing at her best, and I feel like I was trying to reach towards that, then trying to reach towards to be the best player now, and it meant a lot for me, like for her to say that, and I think it was a really eye-opening thing, and for me to look at it in a different perspective.
Adam?
Hey, Lydia. Great season, obviously, so far for you. Nice group, at least to start this week's tournament. Can you comment maybe a little bit on Jinyoung Ko and Noelle Corda's seasons as well, who you'll be playing with tomorrow?
Yeah, I told my mom, so I'm going to be like third wheeling the two. I might be third in the race to CME, but I feel like I'm 100 compared to them. You know what? Normally in a year, I think we have a player that wins multiple times, and you know Jinyoung did in 2019 where she won 4 or 5 times that year. And somebody, like, there's always one player that does it. I think it's seldom that there's two that has a year like they did. You know, both having 4 wins, I think. Nelly winning the gold medal. The stretch that Jinyoung's had over the last 7, 8 events, it's pretty incredible, and it's super impressive. You know, I played quite a bit with Nelly, especially at the start of the year. The week that I'd be paired with Nelly, the week after I'd be paired with Jess. So I was kind of in the Corda sandwich. I get that in the locker room too. So I find Jess's name and then I can find mine. But yeah, it's super impressive. You know, they're both very accurate, I think, with their long game, and then, you know, great short game as well. But especially, you know, Nelly, with how far she hits it, how straight she hits it, I think is a huge strength. And Jinyoung, as well, their games I can't really fault, and I think that's why they're playing so consistently well week in, week out. And, you know, I'm surprised when they don't play like amazing, rather than the other way around. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. You know, I'm excited to play alongside them. I feel like there's a little like less pressure on me because like they have the player of the year and they're so close and everything that I was like, okay, I'm gonna be like spectating while playing tomorrow. But it's super cool, and I think it's great for women's golf in general. Great for our tour. You know, they have 2 very different games. Even though their strengths might be similar, their games are very different. And I think it just shows, you know, that so much talent out here. You know, it doesn't take one type of player to be so dominant. It can be very different. And yeah, it's really cool to see. And I think they and multiple other players are going to inspire more and more girls to want to be the future Jinyoung Ko or want to be the future Nelly Corda. So I think it's a great place for our tour to be in.
And Ken?
Do you remember where you were when you found out you were going to be in that group this week?
I signed my scorecard, and then they were like, oh, this happened on 17. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'm still behind, you know? So I was like, I'm still probably going to go. And then they were like, oh, no, you should stay around. And I was like, okay. So I was watching with the rest of the spectators behind the 18th green. And I was ready to cheer for the last group. But yeah, so I was around. If I knew and had the assurance that I was going to be ready, then I might have warmed up or putt or something. But I didn't feel like I was. But yeah, you know, it was still, you know, a great opportunity. I think looking back, you know, I missed like a 10-footer on 16 and 2 15-footers down 17, 18. And I was like, oh, what if like one of those had fallen? But at the same time, if they're meant to fall, they were going to fall, and they didn't. But, you know, just to be in the opportunity to be able to play in that playoff was great.
You mentioned the level that Jessica and Nelly and Jinyoung, are at right now. How difficult is it to maintain that play over a sustained stretch?
Apparently not that difficult. They're playing so good. You know, I think it is very, very difficult, and what they're doing is very special and very extraordinary. Just because someone does it and 2 people are doing it doesn't mean it's easy out here. I think it's extremely difficult to win out here. Maybe more difficult than, you know, when I was number 1. Like, I think just the amount of talent and the length and the accuracy and how good, you know, the players are getting in their short game. Everything's increasing, you know, and I think every player is trying to get better no matter what rank they are. And I think that's why we're all motivating each other to do better. So yeah, I think it's extremely difficult. You know, sometimes we see them play and, you know, it make that everyone's like, oh, you make it look easy, but it's never easy, and I'm sure it's the case for them. And I'm sure when you're playing well, you're able to feed off that momentum and you have the confidence. But I don't think I would ever say it's easy. Yeah.
I think one more from me before we wrap up here. But this has been a historic season for yourself. 2 worldwide wins, a number of top 10 finishes. On top of that, in contention, and just about wrapped up that VAR trophy by the end of this week. We know in years past we've seen you win multiple awards at the end of the season. We've seen those multiple win seasons. But what does 2021 season mean to you?
I think it's been a meaningful season for me on and off the golf course. It's been a season like within my game where I've probably played some of the most consistent golf I have in my whole career. And obviously that's a great state to be in, because the more times you put yourself in contention, you feel like at one point it's going to fall the way it's going to fall towards, your way. But yeah, it's, having won for the first time in 3 years, and then I think in over 5 years on the LET tour, definitely, meaningful in that sense, but also a lot of great things, off the course as well. So yeah, no, it's 2021. I was actually talking to my mental coach about it, but it's been, I think, some of the most happiest moments, like in my short 24 years. So yeah, it's been a year to remember, and hopefully I'll be able to finish the season off strong here and enjoy Thanksgiving and the Christmas holidays. Yeah.
Sometimes you make us forget that you're only 24 years old, Lydia.
Someone's like, wait, you're still 24? And I was like, yes, yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, and good luck this week.
Thank you.